Hello and happy Thursday. And we're gathered here today to do something amazing. Our fabulous, hot off the presses, new fastest path to your next job masterclass. We're happy you're here. Let's get started. So, I have good news for you. And when it comes to job searches or promotions, there isn't a lot of good news that you're hearing these days. So the good news is your perfect for you job is out there. There is a job that will value your talents, skills, and experience. There is a job that will provide the experience that will get you to your next promotion. There's a job that will provide the paycheck and the work-life balance you need. And there is a job that will provide the company culture and values that you crave. Now, the bad news is your typical job search typically means applying to all the jobs without a strategy and then hearing nothing back, what we like to call crickets. Or when you do hear back, it's a rejection email. If you do get an interview, you end up getting ghosted. Or at least that's what all the cool kids are saying all the time, right? Now, so you end up spending a bunch of money on resume writers without knowing what you were looking for. Cart before horse, horse before cart, some issues there. Spending a bunch of time looking for jobs on social media without a target. Spending a bunch of energy applying to jobs without a strategy. All to end up realizing that you are not on the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion. And you end up looking like that dude. Now, the good news is you hear about the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion and your prayers are answered. Now you will get clear about what you have to offer. Now you will get even clearer about what you want. But just because you know what you want and what you have to offer doesn't mean you know how to talk about what you have to offer on your resume and LinkedIn profile. It doesn't mean that you know which experts to listen to about your resume and LinkedIn profile. It doesn't mean that you know what the love language is for your ideal company and how to use it on your resume and LinkedIn profile. And it doesn't mean that you actually have any clue what it means when people say customize your resume anyway. So you end up listening to every expert on LinkedIn and nothing changes. You're still getting crickets. So you end up with an expensive lesson that listening to all the experts and spending all that money, it doesn't seem to be working. Ugh. What if instead of trying to recreate the wheel, you had a list of companies who need what you have to offer, a target, and who are the right next step for your career, also a target. What if you knew how to build your brand with your resume and LinkedIn profile? What if you knew how to use your target company's love language to brand yourself as their ideal candidate without wasting time, energy, or money on all the wrong things? Hi. So in case you don't know me, I'm the founder and coach of Taking Charge. My name is Wendy, and I help people make more money in better, happier jobs, and I am doing it now. I did it last year during the layoffs, and I've been doing it for 19 years, which means that there have been some bad times in that 19 years. And I've been doing it the whole time. Now, at Taking Charge, we're on a mission to create a career design for your whole life. So my favorite testimonials are actually not the ones where people make more money and that's all they talk about. My favorite testimonials aren't even the ones where the people talk about making more money and being happier at work. You know what my favorite testimonial of all times is? The woman who said, I see my husband more in 1 week than I saw him in 3. My marriage is healthier. I am healthier. And then here is the really awesome one. My children went from reading below grade level to reading above grade level in the first school year after I got that new job. That is my favorite testimonial of all times. That is a career design for your whole life. And by the way, she didn't take a step back in her career. She did not make less money. She did not have less title. She did not have less professional and intellectual stimulation at work. She didn't give up anything. And everybody benefited in her household, including her. That's what I mean by career design for your whole life. Now, for those of you who don't have children and you may not even have a partner, guess what? You still have a whole life. I have a whole life. That piano back there is part of my whole life. I've been singing since I was 13 years old. I've been playing the piano since I was 7. I'm a serious home chef. I am actually a pretty darn serious photographer. I actually took all the pictures for the YMCA I worked for in my 20s. All of our publicity, all of our brochures, I did the photography. And now I do photography with a phone, okay. And half the times it's food and half the times it's nature photos, but that's my jam. So you can have a whole life, even if your whole life doesn't include a spouse and children. So whole life works for everybody. And your career can be designed to support all of it. So what you're going to get today is we're going to talk about target, how to target companies who need what you have to offer and offer what you need. Brand, we're going to talk about how to tune out all the experts and build a brand with your resume and LinkedIn profile. And yes, saw that comment. I love it. Yes, the idea of their love language is super powerful. It's really amazing. Then we've got connect, how to build an application and networking strategy that works and know when to pivot. More on that whole concept in a bit. And then there's impress, how to rock your interviews and negotiate the best offer for you, even now. Last week, it was a client, 2 job offers, 22% salary bump. That's what we're talking about. Where you are today, my guess, based on the gazillions of people I talk to every day, is that you don't have a clear target for what you have to offer, who wants it, and who will offer what you want. You're lost. Very, very lost. You don't know how to craft a resume and LinkedIn profile that clearly tells employers what you have to offer, which is actually part of the whole love language thing. Clearly telling them what you have to offer, so you don't end up buried in that giant stack of virtual digital resumes. You don't have a clear strategy for applications and networking, and all you are hearing are rejections. Hey, there's even a great typo in there. So all you hear are rejections. You lack confidence when you interview and you don't know how to improve. Maybe you lack energy. Maybe you use too many words and the power of what you're saying gets lost. Now, what you're going to get today is all the details on the fastest path to your next job, the target, the brand, the connecting, the impressing. And that's what we call winning around here. Now you're going to get a chance to win a resume and LinkedIn upgrade session or an interview prep session, your choice. The person who drops me the most responses is going to be in the running for that. Or the people who drop me the most responses to the questions I ask, because we're about to ask some questions. I'm going to put on my old school teacher voice and I'm going to actually ask you to grade yourself. So the grades are coming. Don't be scared. It'll be pain-free. Also, an opportunity to get one-on-one support with the best path to your best career coaching program. Super, super, super awesome. So what we want to talk about is whether you have gaps in your job search strategy. And the purpose of talking about these gaps is not to make you feel bad. The purpose is to get you from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. And even though your job offer is probably not going to come face to face, frankly, that's not ideal because you're going to actually be responding with, let me talk it over with, insert the name of the my family or the specific significant other. But what you're going to be thinking is, let me talk it over with that person and Wendy. So even if it's only a virtual handshake with the offer, it is still powerful. And that's where we want to get you. We want to get you there. That is the goal. So let's talk about how we do that. So you can't get what you want if you're not clear about what you want. So target is know what you have to offer, know what you want from your next job, and know who wants what you have to offer. That's the target piece of the puzzle. It's the first step in the process to the fastest path to your next job. So I get some love letters, and people talk about things like figuring out what I actually want, what works for me now, getting really clear about what your strengths are and what your needs are, and then figuring out what to do once we've done that. Determining what types of companies you should focus on, how to expand your relatively small network and make it happen. So, time for some self-assessment. Are you ready? You can do it. I want you to think. I know what I have to offer, my talents, skills, passions, interests, and experiences. I know what I want and need for my next job. I know what companies need what I have to offer and are likely to be hiring now. Give that a score. At the bottom, we have meh. We've got a 1. At the top, we have 4. We have heck yes. So, just to repeat, we're scoring from 1 to 4. Meh to heck yes. I know what I have to offer. My talents, skills, passions, interests, and experiences are all part of your superpower cocktail. I know what I want and need from my next job. I know what companies need, what I have to offer, and are likely to be hiring now. Give it a score from 1 to 4, and be brave and drop it in the comments, because that's how you get bonus awesome things from me. Liking those scores. Okay. Now let's talk about your brand. Your brand is your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letters, and your customization plan. Yes, customization plan. Don't let me scare you. So, one of the things that I work with people on is bolstering their skills in networking that is grounded in branding yourself, so that you have more options in the future. And by the way, this isn't just something I teach you in your 20s. I am currently working with men in their 40s and 50s, and these guys have so much to offer, and they need to bolster their confidence and their skills in branding them for what's next for them. So this is for everybody at every stage of your career. Keep those numbers coming. So, for branding, the scoring will be, I've crafted a resume and LinkedIn experience section that demonstrates my experience and results in language most relevant to my target companies. That's where some of that love language comes in. I have made the most of all the features of my LinkedIn profile to attract recruiters working on my ideal jobs. I call it putting catnip out because, well, I'm a cat person, don't have one right now, but love cats. And so I think of it as catnip for the recruiters that I used to train in tech startups. Wearing one of my tech startup t-shirts right now. Okay, then I know how to customize my resume and cover letter for each application. So that's what we're scoring. We're going from meh to heck yes. Meh is a 1, heck yes is a 4. In between, we got not really at a 2 and kind of yeah at a 3. Crafting the resume in LinkedIn, demonstrating your experience, results in language most relevant. You've made the most of all the features of the LinkedIn profile. You're setting it up to attract recruiters who are working on your ideal jobs, and you know how to customize your resume and cover letter for each application. Lay me down some scores, people. That's how you get the bonus opportunities. Okay. Keep those scores coming. I love it. Now we get to the hard part. Those first 2 are sometimes the easier part. Now we get to the hard part. Connecting. Executing your application strategy in sprints. What do I mean by sprints? So if you're in the tech world, you probably know what I mean by sprint. So in the tech world, and actually to some degree, other parts of the business world have embraced the concept of agile sprints. It's the idea of we decide we're going to work on these things for this amount of time, and then we finish that, and then when we move on to the next one. One of my clients was an ed tech company. They did 6-week agile sprints. Their software engineers sat side by side with elementary school teachers for 2 of those 6 weeks. In fact, the goal for the recruiter I was training was to hire extroverted engineers, software engineers in Silicon Valley. In case you don't know, talk about a needle in a haystack. So, but your typical elementary school teacher is a people person. And that software engineer was going to have to sit side by side for like an 8-10 hour day with one of those people because they were building tech to support individualized learning programs in an elementary school classroom setting. It was amazing. So cool. Anyway, that's what I mean by sprint. I mean, we build a strategy and you execute it for a short amount of time. And the reason we do that is you don't want to spend 9 months doing something that's not working. One of the most impressive 20-somethings I've ever worked with worked on his job search for 7 months, 1,800 applications. Yes. 1,800 applications. One offer, and he realized that it was based in a suburban town and it was not a good fit for him at 25 to go live in a suburban town. He needed to be around other young single people, and that just didn't make any sense. So, and nothing else was anywhere close to offer stage. And we started working together. We got clear on his target. We got clear on his branding, and we built a plan, and he was hired in 6 weeks. Easy peasy. He just had to tighten some things up, including what's coming next. So application strategy in sprints. You're not going to spend 7 months doing something that doesn't work. Executing your networking strategy. Yes, that's strategic. That's not randomly saying, please help me. Nope. And then executing application strategy audits and pivoting when you need to. Notice my favorite word, pivot. Got it. So what we want to do at this stage is stay focused. And yes, if you need to be, challenging you when you fall off course. And the result usually is way more leads than I've ever had in a job search, no matter what the current economic situation is. And sometimes, like one of my clients, it was before remote work was even remotely popular. He lives in a small town in Central California, and he wanted the next job in his career. And he was a family man, and they weren't moving, and he was going to stay where he was in his small town. And we got him the next senior IT role in his career, going from Kaiser Permanente, pretty darn good brand name, to Mayo Clinic. Talk about a brand name. Okay, so time to get out the scorecards again. Are you ready? I have an application strategy and I execute it every week. I have a method to track results and pivot when I need to. Are you tracking your results? Do you know all the places you applied to, how many you applied to, what versions of your resume were sent? And then do you take those results and pivot when you need to? Are you getting interviews and not crickets? Okay. So from a 1, a meh, 4, heck yes, where are you? Let's see. We've got some not reallys. We've got some kind of yes. Yeah. And now it's time to impress. So I like to think of this as rocking your inner game of interviews and then rocking your outer game of interviews and then rocking your negotiation to get what matters most to you. For one of my clients in the last couple of years, it wasn't actually a bigger paycheck. It was a dramatic increase in the value of the benefits plan that was going to save her $20,000 a year in healthcare for herself and her 2 children. $20,000 a year. She is a VP of product. So, the money was good. The money was good at the old job. The money was good at the new job. Basically, it was a wash. But $20,000. It's a big deal. So we want to rock that inner game. The inner game is not the words. It's everything but the words in the interview. Then the outer game is the words, what you're saying. Then the negotiation to get what matters most to you. So one of my favorite mom stories is a woman who we did her interview prep session on a Sunday. I just did one of those this Sunday. And no, I don't normally do them on Sundays. But when we find out about the interview that's going to be on Monday, on Friday, then yeah, we're going to be doing the interview prep session on Sunday. And she was going after FANGs. So Facebook, Apple, Google, companies like that. In fact, she got 2 offers from 2 of those 3 companies. And what I loved about our interview prep session is that her twin 6-year-olds were playing with balloons, and she was tying the balloons, and her children would come on camera as we were doing this interview prep session, and she's tying up balloons for them. That was awesome. But serious bump in salary. Serious. She did have a tremendous asset. She worked in program management where she was aligning with manufacturing overseas and engineering and product teams in US-based companies. And she happened to speak the language that was spoken at the manufacturing companies in question. And she had experience and relationships at both the large manufacturers and the small ones. And all we had to do was get these folks to see that in her interview. Because before she worked with me, they didn't see that. And she was way underpaid in the market. Visualizing, strategizing for interviews, just did a session for somebody on Sunday because we're like, okay, we feel like you're really qualified and you're reasonably articulate, but it's not converting. Let's go back and look at this again. And one of the things we had to do is we had to lift his energy level. The other is we had to delete about 60% of the words he was saying when he was answering questions. That's what we do. I've conducted 12,000 interviews in my career. I have thought more about job interviews than makes any sense. I've taught hundreds of recruiters and hiring managers how to do this. And now I'm on the other side of the table. I help you. Okay, so with Impress, I know how to prepare for the inner game and outer game of interviews. I know how to manage the interview process to get offers because quite frankly, that's the hard part, the in between each stage of the interview thing, because that got wonky when everybody was quarantining at home and now it's stayed wonky. It has not gotten better. So navigating that piece in between each round, huge part of the puzzle. And then knowing how to negotiate and get what is most important to you. And I'm not even going to ask you if you write thank you notes, because you will be. Okay, so from press, a 1 is a meh, a 4 is a heck yes. Let's get those numbers in. Where are we doing? Are we at a not really? Are we at a kind of yeah? Where are we in our process when it comes to our interviews? Now, as you can probably tell, I'm kind of passionate about this stuff. And I bring a lot of energy to the table and a lot of experience, because I have hired thousands of people and I have been the boss of hundreds. So just be ready, because we are going to make some things happen. Sometimes what we're doing is getting you out of a bad job situation and landing something new and better. Sometimes it's about doing that and laying the groundwork for the long term. And one of my favorite things is when I get to work with both halves of a married couple. I've done that multiple times. I would start with one half and then the other. And also, I've worked on multiple occasions with a parent and then their adult child. So I'm doing that for the second time right now. Absolutely love that. Absolutely awesome. Okay, so I've already dropped a little bit of this, but let's talk about how I make this happen. And it's one word: experience. So I've scaled a startup from employee 23 to employee 500 and a $100 million exit for the founders and the investors. I've led millions of dollars in consulting engagements with dozens of Fortune 500 and VC-backed startup companies. I've led award-winning programs at a leading nonprofit, and I've led the turnaround of a small nonprofit, an AIDS clinic in the Castro district in San Francisco. I've designed talent strategy at VC-backed startups with a 64% exit rate. And as I already mentioned, I've conducted 12,000 interviews. So imagine having someone who's hired thousands of people in both the private sector and nonprofit advising you. Getting all the interview design secrets from someone who's conducted 12,000 interviews and trained people how to do them and designed the process over and over and over again for a lot of companies. Imagine negotiating your compensation details with all the real data so you don't leave money on the table. Imagine building your long-term career strategy with someone who has 30 plus years of management experience. And imagine knowing that what actually matters the most is that your career works for your whole life. So where you are now is probably not a happy place. Where you want to be is getting that next job, getting that next promotion. That's what this is all about. So when you work with me, we're going to get the target clear. We're going to get the brand clear. We're going to get the connecting clear, and we're going to get the impressing clear. We're going to make them happen. Over this almost 20-year period, I've developed a whole bunch of tools that I customize for every one-on-one client. And we get really clear on what I think of as that superpower cocktail of all the things that you have to offer. And we talk about where you want to go next and what this next job has to do to move you in that direction. And then we have all the tools to actually get the branding right, get the application strategy right, get the networking strategy right, all of that. And then the interview prep, which is just mind-blowing. And then the negotiation strategy and the in-between interview strategy. And then we left out the important thing, because it doesn't end. Oh, there's so much more. It doesn't end when you get the job offer and you say yes. After that, you've got to get through the first 90 days. You got to have a plan for that. That's not just for executives, that's for everybody. And then you got to have an ongoing plan for how you're going to take this job and move yourself forward to the thing that's coming next after this job. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's a side gig. Sometimes it's not a side gig. Sometimes it's getting the next level. One of my repeat clients, because I also have those, we got her first VP of product role, 3 job offers, 5 months pregnant, record of all time in 19 years. And then a number of years later, about 6 or so, based on the age of the child in question, we got her first chief product officer role. And yes, it was at Series B company. What she really kind of wanted was Series CD. We got the Series B company. And then what do? We built the strategy to rock that job, get that company as far as she could, and build the relationships that she needed with VCs. Just like the CEO candidate I'm working with now, where the jobs are going to be sourced from VCs. So while most of my clients are going to have an application and a networking strategy, and most of them are not going to get their jobs to VCs, if you are C-suite in venture-backed tech startups, then obviously the VCs are part of that sprint. The VCs are part of the networking strategy, a huge part. So if you think about all these things, the one-on-one coaching, the customized action plans, the direct access via email, accountability and action working sessions, all of these things, we're talking about a lot of money. If they were all itemized out at the value that they actually bring to the table. Now, keep in mind that most of you are missing out on more than $10,000 a month in income while you aren't working. And we're going to shorten the time to get you to your next job. So one of the things that tends to blow people's mind is that 12,000 interviews thing. And one of my clients, after their first interview, after getting trained on interview prep by me, came back and said, I actually got asked the questions that you had me practice. And I was like, wow. So it says by the end of the month, that was supposed to say by the end of the weekend. So here's the deal. If you get back to me by Sunday night and you say, I'm ready, instead of the $950 a month price, it's going to be $800. Eight's my favorite number. $800 by Sunday night. I apologize for that end of the month. I thought I fixed that. Okay. Or you can pay in full, and you will pay in full for 5 months and get 6 months. Now, are you going to land in less than 6 months? Almost definitely. But remember, we've got to get you through the first 90 days, and we've got to build the plan for what comes next. So just do it up front, put it on a points credit card, and you're in easy peasy. Now, obviously, I've made a lot of tech references. And so obviously, if you're in tech, whether it's big tech or small tech, obviously, you know I'm your person. I'm wearing something from my Zendesk consulting days. Back when I grew out their sales organization, and they were in downtown San Francisco, the first tenant at one of those gentrification projects in San Francisco. Had some real fun times getting in and out of the office in those days. So obviously techies, I got you covered, but who else? People making major transitions, nonprofit leaders, maybe moving to for-profit, teachers moving out of teaching, lawyers moving out of law, doctors moving out of medicine, moving to the private sector. One of those client alum adult children's stories right now, he's graduating from college with an amazing degree, and we're figuring out where is he launching his career. So another thing that I see a lot with my clients is first foray into VP land, first foray into C-suite, or I have a goal and I need to get there. I want my last hurrah job. So one of my clients, that was another CFO role, but at a company 3 times the size of the one she'd been working at, with a culture that fit her needs. And so that's what we did. So everything from the early career all the way up to those C-suite decisions. Over the almost 20 years of coaching, I'm averaging a 34% average salary bump. Yeah, there's a couple biggies here, like Mr. $100,000 higher, and the Fang lady was more than that. But, and then here we have her. Before I started working with Wendy, I was in a leadership role in a startup, working 80 to 90 hours a week. I was frazzled and not managing stress well. I wanted to get into a different industry. I was not connecting with my family. I did not have time for any of my other interests. I am no longer stressed. I have control of my calendar. I have more diverse work in a completely different industry. I'm working fewer hours and making more money. I see my kids and husband more each week than I did in 3 weeks. It has been transformative for me. People who know me see the difference and want the same help. I've referred several friends and colleagues to her. Yes, she actually referred me to the VP of product, now Chief Product Officer woman with the 3 job offers. Yes. So, another favorite story. This client was in customer success in Alabama. She is a cancer survivor, and we got her an amazing job at the medical center where she was treated for her cancer, leading technology initiatives at that medical center. Talk about fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to reach out to the top poster about that free, the discounted interview prep, or not free, but the discounted interview prep or resume and LinkedIn profile upgrade session. So check your DMs, because I'm going to DM you. And know that you have till Sunday to take advantage of the 2 offers for one-on-one coaching. And if you have any other questions about the other ways to work with me, drop me a DM right now and I'll get back to you. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. And let's get you on the fastest path to your next job or your next promotion.